just wanted to go ahead and provide everyone with an update and a progress report. Now, last week I took my measurements, and I am proud to announce that I have released 21 inches. I am so thrilled about that. Um, it's just so exciting and something to celebrate for sure. So, yay. I wasn't able to get into the gym as much as I wanted. I made it there 3 times in the week, but 3 times in the week isn't a bad restart. I completed my weigh-in, and the results are in, and I have lost 5 pounds. Now, 5 pounds for 3 days of work is absolutely astonishing to me, and something that is very exciting. So let me share with you exactly what is working for me. Now, after getting lost in YouTube, researching some exercise videos and healthy recipes, I came across some motivational videos. And in those videos, they talk about commitments, change, and consistency, and also knowing your why. So last week, when I created the video, I documented my starting point and my commitment to change to myself to lose the weight. So this week, what I would like to do is to share with you my why. In order to do that, I do have to share a little bit about myself. I'm 41. I live common law with my fiance, and I have 2 sons. One is 22, the other one is 23. So yes, I was a teen mom. Growing up for me wasn't easy. My parents had a lot of problems. There were many issues. We moved around a lot, and my dad had a drinking problem. So there was a lot of fighting, and our house was chaotic at best. Not the greatest start, but definitely something that you can overcome. Now, the only reason that I share this with you is because out of that became a defining moment for me. My mom, after I got into a toxic relationship, had come to me and she said to me, Kim, if you don't like it, you need to change it. And I sat there and I thought about what that meant for me. And I ended my relationship. I went to counseling. And I learned new ways of thinking and coping. Now, I wanted to be better for my kids. And as every parent wants, they want them to have a good base and grow up and happy and be well adjusted. And that's what I wanted. Now, growing up alongside your kids, not something that I would ever recommend for anyone. You don't get a chance to learn about yourself while you're raising 2 kids. So this has kind of been a long process, and something that I've been working on is knowing me. Now, growing up, I wasn't able to give them much financially. I couldn't afford anything, but I was able to give them a peaceful, loving home. I'm very proud of my kids. They grew up to be wonderful young men. And even though we moved around a whole lot, because with circumstances, I always kind of upgraded our living conditions, because you don't have a lot of money. So when you don't have a lot of money, you don't have the nicest stuff. But things got better, and I was able to provide them with new homes and new things as we went along. That was until I got sick, and the doctors told me that I had a melanoma cancer. During that time, John had to take care, or my fiance, had to take care of me and the kids. The amount of time that was required to be off actually cost us our jobs, our stuff, and eventually our home. Now, thankfully, they did get all of the cancer, and I did get better. But we ended up going and staying with friends for a little while until it became to a point where we had to go and live in a hotel for 2 months. We literally lost everything. Now, we were blessed enough to come across somebody that was willing to rent us a 2-bedroom cottage home, little small house, and we started again. So when we moved in that day, I vowed that never again would we lose that much. So we put one foot in front of the other, and we clawed our way back. We repurchased our stuff, and I'm proud to say that we have accomplished paying our monthly bills. And it has been a long road, but one that I'm very proud that we got to today. During those times, I was thinking, why does normal have to be so hard? I just don't get it. I want to be happy. I remember the very first time that I stood in a room with happy people. My sister had invited me to her church. Now, in the church, their motto is no perfect people allowed. So here I was in the middle of a room with people that admittedly had problems, and they were laughing, smiling, and making connections. And I was thinking, what is going on here? I'm not happy, and I don't get why they can be genuinely happy and have all their issues. So there was no secrets that were revealed. However, it did spark an interest in me. So the second time that this happened, where I was in a group of genuinely happy people, my sister Jody, she invited me to an Isagenix meeting. And again, they were laughing, smiling, and they were really friendly people. But the difference is that they were doing exactly what they wanted to in their lives. And that sparked an interest. I wanted that for me and for my family. So I went home and I searched things like I normally do. And because if you don't like something, you got to change it, right? So I came across a show, Super Soul Sunday, and they talked about meditation and a few other things on, what happiness is and what that means. So through that process, and one of the sessions, they ask, what do you want? When I first answered it, the first answers were like material possessions. I wanted a new house. I wanted a new car. I wanted new things. They tell you to go past that and look a little deeper. So I did, and I found that I got a picture of what my career would look like. I wanted to help people, things along those lines. And they say, you know what? You need to go a little bit deeper. So I did. I sat with myself and I was real quiet, and then the truth came out. What did I want? I wanted to heal. So what did that mean for me? I actually had to go ahead and give forgiveness to people that I'd been angry at for a very long time. When you're angry, it kind of holds on to you like its own little cage. And it doesn't make sense to be angry because time's the only thing that you have. I wanted to repair relationships. I had some distance in my relationships, and I wanted to fix that. So, whatever it took in order to, apologize, make connections, whatever I had to do, I was willing to do it. And then the third thing is I needed to lose the weight. It's a reminder of what life was like, and it's not who I am on the inside. So I want my inside to match my outside. So those are all goals that I have gone ahead and set for myself in the next chapter of my life. Now, during the same time when Jody had asked me to the meeting, she asked me, hey, do you want to try the Isagenix? And I was like, you know what? Not really overly interested, but I wanted to make that connection with her. So I joined anyway, in the fashion of having a common interest in repairing relationships. This, and it was also secondary income, to be honest, to kind of help boost us up, that we needed. So in that fashion, I started to share with other people, and I took a friend of mine down to Toronto for a meeting. Now, that's where it was like the real game changer for me, because there was a speaker that they had there. Her name was Dr. Michelle. She's a chiropractor here in Barrie. And she was talking about emotional connections and learning how to dream again. And in that moment, I realized that I had stopped dreaming, that life had conditioned me to just want normal. And you know what? I don't want just normal. It taught me that life had said, don't dream, let alone dream big. So, with fresh eyes, I allowed myself to go into the moment and imagine what life would look like if I had my choice and not just what I had to do. So, what I dreamt, the very first thing, was the new car, was the forever home, one that we don't have to move from. Then I dreamt about traveling whenever and wherever I wanted to, and not being chained to a job that was 40 hours a week, that I'm somewhat happy at, and people get to tell me my work to them. Not something that I was into. I also looked at it and thought about the trip that I want to take my sisters on to Bali. There is a lake on top of a volcano that I would love to go ahead and go up with them and hike, and we can watch the sunrise in the morning. Fabulous time that I think that would be. I also dreamt of paying for my wedding that I can afford, but would definitely love to get accomplished for the past few years. And finally, the last thing that I dreamt of was making connections with people in order to help them get the change that they want to see in their lives. Helping them get what they want out of life, because time is all that we have, really. So now, what I do, instead of getting into, I worked in call centers. And if you know anything about call centers, they teach you really great communication skills, however, really bad eating habits. The culture there is, if you do something well, they'll reward you with lunches, or there's free candy around all the time. So accomplishments equals food. Now the reward, when we had no money and things that had happened, when I got somewhere, or to make myself feel better, I would go out and get a cheeseburger. It was cheap and it tastes absolutely amazing, but it became my very unhealthy eating habit. So lots of junk food, no exercise. So that's kind of how I got to today. Now what I do is I'll spend time with friends, and I will go ahead and take hot baths, or I'll get myself like this really cheap smelly shampoo. Just anything that just gives you that a self-care. And I find that works a lot better. And when things get really tough too, I can always plan for trips to go see family that's, lives a long way a ways, and those trips are always turned out absolutely amazing. They take some time to get to, but I've definitely enjoyed my time spending with family. So through that, I know that change is hard, okay? And there's sometimes a pain that's associated with change. Now, I also know if you run from your pain always finds you. So, with that in mind, I know that our toughest moments weren't the days that I was trying to figure out how to be happy, or even the day when I was sick with the cancer. The toughest days weren't even the days when I was trying to figure out how we would buy food or where we would sleep next. What I found was the toughest days were the days when I had to wake up and know that I had to do it all over again. So, with that in mind, I put one foot in front of the other, and I keep doing that because I know that I just have to keep going, no matter what. And now I've used that in order to lose the very first 50 pounds. When I tend to put my mind to things, I get a goal in mind and I go all in to accomplish it. I have lost sight of that when I lost my job as of 4 months ago. But everybody has their speed bumps. So I am here to say that I'm back and I'm hungry again. I want those dreams. I want those changes.